In May 2025, the celestial bodies herald a period of significant change for Scorpios, affecting the financial sphere, emotional state and karmic aspects of life. The events unfolding during this period may surprise others, as they are not vague predictions, but specific dates and astrological aspects that indicate turning points in destiny. We will talk about a detailed analysis of the astrological code of happiness, which marks the end of a long period of trials. Both solar and ascendant Scorpios will experience a powerful transformation in relationships, financial status, self-esteem and overall life path. Everything that previously hindered development will be a thing of the past, and long-awaited opportunities will begin to materialize. This horoscope is for those who prefer to rely on real celestial signals rather than blindly believe in miracles. The first code is inner harmony. On May 10, when Mercury enters Taurus, Scorpios will enter a phase of intellectual and psychological stabilization. Mercury's transit through Taurus activates the 7th and 8th houses of the horoscope, which emphasizes the importance of inner dialogue, self-esteem, and the structure of close relationships. The tension between desires and responsibilities will gradually disappear, giving way to the confidence that true strength lies not in resistance but in clarity of mind and understanding of self. Some aspects of this period may be unexpected, but do not be alarmed. Solar Scorpios are entering a period of blossoming strategic thinking, when their true aspirations take clear shape. In the depths of their mind, always characterized by insight, as if by magic there are points of support, logical clarity and equanimity, which they lacked before. Sometimes Scorpios who have this sign in the ascendant, notice how their interaction with the world is changing. It becomes easier for them to express their thoughts, it is easier to perceive another's point of view and convey their position without unnecessary disputes. Inner torment gradually recedes, and harmony reigns not because of external factors, but because of the disappearance of former anxiety. Scorpio stops aimless self-digging and begins to build a solid internal foundation, which inevitably leads to an increase in his personal effectiveness. The man gains unshakable confidence in his value and understanding of ways to achieve the desired, fears that constrained his development, recede, and the foreground comes to the practical intelligence. Life, which previously seemed chaotic, gains structure and predictability. Previous sources of internal contradictions, such as the dilemma between a stable career and personal life, between duty to loved ones and their own needs, no longer paralyze the will of Scorpio. He makes an informed decision, not tormented by doubts, makes a conscious choice and does not return to it again and again, and, most importantly, gets rid of the need to prove himself through suffering. Scorpio in May directs his powerful energy not to exhausting struggle, but to creative work. His unique ability to profound transformation, which is both a gift and a source of vulnerability, in this period becomes a valuable resource. Scorpio's natural wariness, which makes him expect a blow even in a calm environment, is transformed into an advantage. In May, Scorpio frees itself from the shackles of past experience and directs its analytical abilities not toward self-destruction, but toward inner restructuring and renewal. The key to harmony lies in the cessation of inner warfare, which opens the way to building a bright future. Trials are over when the oppressive feeling of inability to cope disappears. Situations that previously caused anxiety and feelings of powerlessness are no longer perceived as dead ends. Scorpio realizes that the solution is within himself, and the key to the exit, in calm, not in the pressure. For example, the horoscope predicts the transformation of a long conflict with superiors, which previously caused internal tension, into a constructive dialogue. This happens not because of a change in external circumstances, but due to the fact that Scorpio stops perceiving the situation as a threat. Such behavior, of course, causes surprise and even shock to others, but this is exclusively their personal perception. It is important to note that when Mercury brings internal processes into harmony, the representatives of the sign of Scorpio transform their vulnerabilities, such as excessive suspicion, tendency to seclusion and introspection, into powerful tools. This can be seen as a second code to gain the upper hand over envious and ill-wishers. May 12th is marked by a full moon in the sign of Scorpio, which marks Scorpio's entry into a period of supreme astrological power. The full moon activates the 1st and 7th houses of the horoscope, emphasizing the dilemma of who is a friend and who is an enemy. Tension reaches a peak and hidden conflicts come to the surface. Those who are used to manipulating, pretending, and using others for their own ends can no longer remain in the shadows. Scorpio no longer intends to be silent and patient, he moves to active action, without wasting time on explanations. Representatives of the sign, born under the sun in Scorpio, gain additional strength in open confrontation. They have an irresistible desire to break the relationship, in which there is no mutual respect. They do not seek compromise when it is obvious that the person is a negative influence. Scorpios with an ascendant in this sign show themselves differently, they build clear boundaries, avoiding open confrontation. Scorpios enclose themselves with an invisible but tangible boundary, without resorting to ruptures or exceptions, but achieve a similar result. Their environment undergoes changes, and unnecessary elements disappear. A kind of karmic process of cleansing the space around them starts. This process resembles shock therapy, in which all insincere ties and relationships are destroyed to the ground. The fundamental right to personal territory is restored, and Scorpio stops expending its energy on those who systematically belittled his dignity. Guilt disappears, giving way to the realization that respect is not an object of pleading, but a necessary condition for interaction. For example, in the work environment, where Scorpio has long faced a behind-the-scenes struggle, suddenly there is a reshuffle of forces. Those who created interference, leave or defeat. This does not happen as a result of open confrontation, but through the aggravation of the situation, after which everything becomes crystal clear. Scorpio does not feel the need to justify himself, he takes the lead, because he has earned this right with his resilience and experience. Scorpio's strength lies in his uncompromising honesty. If he comes to the conclusion that any relationship is exhausted, then it is really over for him. During the period of the full moon, his perception becomes especially sharp and his intuition is unmistakable. Everything that served as an obstacle in his way, sifted out, often forever. The influence of external factors that create tension, gradually comes to naught, as soon as the causes of this pressure are removed. Scorpio finds himself in an environment where he is valued for his personal qualities, not by compulsion. The third important point is the resolution of financial difficulties. On May 18, Jupiter sextiles Chiron and squares the North Node, which unblocks financial channels that have long been blocked by internal tensions and external circumstances. Jupiter influences the 2nd and 6th houses of Scorpio, spheres related to personal resources and labor activity. Accumulated experience is beginning to bear fruit, hidden monetization opportunities are coming to the surface, and monetary energy is returning to the Scorpio energy field as if someone has removed a limiter. For many Scorpios, events will be a real shock. Those who have long been in a state of uncertainty and lost hope for a fair future, get a chance not only to restore their financial situation, but also to lay the foundation for further prosperity. Scorpios engaged in routine work will face new opportunities, promotion, redistribution of responsibilities or transition to more promising tasks. For many workers, new horizons open up in the form of offers promising stable income. Creative individuals and freelancers are finding their audience, finding financial opportunities where previously there were barriers. Retirees and those who have been temporarily unemployed regain lost connections or receive support that brings with it a sense of confidence in the future. Scorpios born under the sign of the sun demonstrate a pragmatic and calculated approach to finances, displaying equanimity and strategic thinking when it comes to investing and multiplying capital. However, it is important to remember that the energy of Jupiter requires movement, so do not fixate solely on accumulation. Scorpios with an ascendant in this sign, on the contrary, will be inclined to spend on home improvement, creating comfort and taking care of health. Even those who seem to have given up on the idea of making a large income may suddenly find themselves in a situation where their experience and knowledge are highly valued. Contracts, bonuses, unexpected offers, or the repayment of old debts can all be part of a chain leading to the restoration of material well-being. And these are not just dreams or hopes, but concrete results predicted by the horoscope. Scorpios tend to live on the limit, choosing between everything and nothing, but this strategy can lead to exhaustion. Jupiter, like a wise mentor, gives benefits not instantly, like a lottery win, but systematically and reliably, creating a stable system. Financial independence becomes a reality for those who have managed to overcome the inner feeling of lack and need. It is noteworthy that the losses that have occurred since 2020 are gradually taking on a new life, transforming into more reliable and practical forms. Full compensation for losses is expected within the next 6 months. The fourth aspect has to do with love, relationships and infidelity. On May 20th, as the Sun moves into Gemini, it illuminates the 8th and 5th houses of the horoscope, areas responsible for intimacy, trust, sensual pleasures, and the legacy of emotions. Scorpios, known for their capacity for deep emotional connections, are sometimes vulnerable because of this same trait. The desire for exclusivity in relationships can lead to loneliness and isolation. Representatives of this sign, for whom the Sun is a determining factor, show categorical in love, not forgiving falsity and not tolerating games. With the emergence of new acquaintances, it is important to remember that excessive demanding can destroy even the most sincere unions. In Scorpios with an ascendant in this sign, the emphasis shifts to the psychological merger with a partner. They establish a connection through deep conversations, common interests and mutual development, striving for harmony at the level of intellect and soul. For many representatives of the sign of Scorpio, there is a danger of disappearing in the maelstrom of events and losing control of the situation. On the horizon appear prerequisites for the resumption of old ties, but not in the form of sentimental nostalgia, but rather as a result of a mature rethinking of past experience. Feelings may have been preserved, but the former pain is gone. Revitalization of the relationship becomes real when both partners demonstrate a willingness to change and strive to create something new rather than repeating old mistakes. Mistrust is replaced by crystal clarity, and resentments give way to deep mutual understanding. It is likely that the men with whom Scorpio women in the past had a difficult breakup, will again get in touch. Such a turn of events may cause surprise, but the main thing is not to panic and do not take it as a threat. Scorpions are advised to assess the situation cold-bloodedly, putting aside emotions. If there is faith in the possibility of building a solid foundation and creating a new relationship, you can safely move forward. Otherwise, the decision should be made calmly, without unnecessary worries, idealization or mutual accusations. The topic of cheating ceases to be so painful, as the constant tension and distrust that poisoned the relationship disappears. The Sun, located in the sign of Gemini, gives Scorpios the gift of open and calm discussion of important issues in relationships, without excessive pressure and manipulation. Fear and suspicion are replaced by confidence in the partner and in their own abilities. Scorpio no longer feels the need for total control, as it feels internal stability and does not need constant checks. Let's imagine the situation: the habitual connection with a loved one is temporarily cut off. In the past, Scorpio would have felt anxious and automatically blamed the partner, but now he is embraced by calm expectation. Explanation is sure to follow, because inside there is no longer room for the tense thought, what if I'm being cheated on? A clear structure is formed in the relationship, where each participant is aware of his desires, knows how to express them and understands the boundaries of permissible. Scorpio refuses destructive behaviors such as reticence, psychological pressure, and hidden expectations. He adheres to 3 simple but important principles: directness in words, honesty in actions and refusal of manipulation. Such a transformation inevitably changes the environment, leaving next to only those who are capable of mature and reliable relationships. Love becomes predictable and, most importantly, stable. Scorpio feels protected not by controlling the situation, but by the wise choice of a reliable partner and refusal of actions dictated by fear. It is important to note, a horoscope is not just entertainment or abstraction, but a valuable tool that offers an accurate plan of action based on real astrological aspects. Devotion to the chosen path and adherence to certain principles is not just a formality, but a calibrated strategy for success. People who adhere to these guidelines invariably reap the benefits in the form of stability, progress, and favor of fate. There comes a unique period when the burden of external pressure is lessened, karmic cycles come to an end, and trials that have haunted for years lose their power. With a serious approach, you can break free from the clutches of constant tension and enter a band of favorable changes, where everything works out best, in the financial sphere, in personal life, in social status and inner peace. Happiness, material prosperity, and recognition are not just unattainable dreams, but quite real prospects for those who are able to take the chance.